Hello, my little beans. I know I haven't posted, but there's been a lot of things that happened, and I will briefly talk about it, but I will not talk about all the details that I went through. But let's just say, and also I was doing a lot of schoolwork before the end of the school year, but now I have free time and I could basically talk to you guys more. But I just have no ideas because I'm still, doing a lot of other things in life, trying to get my shit together, just giving myself time alone. And that's why I haven't even gotten into any games. I mean, I've been in games, but I haven't really touched games actually often. All I've been doing is watching YouTube, giving time to myself, kind of talking to my friends. Because all I do is, like, get on Discord, talk to them a little bit. Then I go on my phone and I just text chatbots for the rest of the day because I really just don't do anything. I've been staying off from games that involve actual people and all that other stuff because at this point I don't even know if I can trust anyone. So, but I'll explain why I feel that way. So, first things first, I don't have anybody now. I'm single. Let's get into why I am. I have no script for this. I do not script things. I am just going to go off what I think I should say and what I'm not going to say. Now, me and him were doing fine in my eyes, but the thing is, I never opened up because, well, first, my last relationship didn't go so well, and I just wanted to keep my guard up. I'm kind of like my mom, and she kind of does the same thing, but I was slowly opening up because it takes me more time than the average person to start opening up. Not only that, whenever I wanted to open up to my boyfriend, well, ex, but I'm going to address him as my boyfriend until like the parts where I say ex, which is after the incident. So that's what I'm going to do. So when I tried to open up to my boyfriend, he was already having his own issues, and I didn't want to add more stuff to his back, and I felt like if I did, I'd be a bad girlfriend. So I just never said any of my issues, and well, most of the time, again, as I was trying to say something, he sent me a paragraph or something about his own issues. And I'm not going to say his issues, but I would sympathize, try to tell him everything will be okay. And even if this is how life is right now, things could progress and get better. Trust me, if one of my other friends can get better, then you can too. Which I'm so great. One of my friends is actually doing better. I missed her a lot. And I, after a while, I got VR chat. Now, I never told y'all when I got VR chat, but trust me, if you want videos like that, I don't know. My PC tries to kill me every day when I try to go on there. But when I started going on VR chat, I kind of just always met friends, met people. It was so great until like a couple months. I don't know how long it's been. It was like the new year was like 2025 was almost ending. I keep hearing that around town. I'm like, what? When? But that was when I started hearing that. I was like, oh wow. And then I met these two people that are friends with my boyfriend, quote unquote. Now, and I was so happy to meet new people. So, of course, I was a bit quiet at first because it was like not just those two people. It was like a whole like family type thing, and I haven't been meeting that many big groups of people, but I do meet a lot of people though. It's just when I go on servers, I sit quietly and I just sit there because I don't know what to do. Because I'm a very awkward person. Yeah, that's one thing. And, I was like, ooh, yay, new people. But, like, I sat down, I didn't really say anything. But then I met these two other people again. They're boyfriend and girlfriend. I love them. They're sweethearts in my eyes, because I see everybody as a good person. Um, but I have my own opinion about the relationship, but it's not my part to say anything. They do their own thing. They're their own thing. Yeah. Um, and they told me that he said that I cheated on him, or like he had the suspicion, or that I did, and he said that in a public server, and he said my government, like my real name, like my first name, in a public server. Now, it's one thing to tell people that you think I'm cheating on you, but the full, my first name is a kind of iffy that I don't mess with, because not even my IRL friends really say my name that often and like in front of people. Well, kind of they do, but they usually sometimes they say my user tag. They either call me by my YouTube name or my rec room name, because when they found out that my rec room name was Carly, they just started calling me that. It was so annoying. But some people also call me Lash, Ash, and stuff like that because my old users. But the thing is, I didn't understand why. I thought he would have talked to me about it. And he also told me that he had a tragic incident in his household. Now, I'm not going to say specifically, but it left him being an orphan, quote unquote. But me and the two people were talking, and they found it suspicious how in 1 week this tragic incident happened. And that was before I really started talking to them. But before they told me about their suspicion, I had opened up a little bit to him about my father. Now, I don't talk about my dad because he is not in my family. He's been deceased for as long as I've been alive for. Now, I saw a couple photos of today of my father, like, helping me walk, when I was in my mom's tum-tum. It's great. And I opened up. Now, it's probably the only time I've ever really talked about my father to him, like, emotionally. Because whenever I talk about my dad being dead, I kind of use it as a joke. That's how I cope. Now, the two people that were telling me their suspicions said it wasn't the right thing to do. And I'm, like, confused because they don't understand, like, a lot of different people cope differently, and they'll just have to accept that eventually, because I do cope differently than most other people when they talk about the deceased parents. And, well, deceased parent, my mom is still with me, OG mom. But I opened up, told him how I sympathize, and I was actually crying. I was shedding tears, actual tears. Like, I had to wipe my face just so I can see the screen. Like, I don't get emotional often in front of people because I find it as a sign of weakness. Maybe that's why people say I'm like Bakugo, and I hate it so much. Like, I will throw a freaking Crayola marker at you. But, jokes aside, but, then to find out that when and the two people confronted him about it seeming very weird that you lost your parents in a week, and that now you're already in a new house. Now, he didn't know, like, we were in VR, and he had to get off, and we were suspicious that he wasn't, like, telling the truth, that he was just trying to avoid it. And he told his mom to say something, well, foster, quote unquote. But when she spoke, and then after he left, I was like, that's his mom, that's his real mom. And they were like, what? I'm like, yeah, that's his real mom. Surprisingly, I knew how she sounded, and I never really heard her before. I've heard her like one time before, but I can't believe I was right though. Because then when we confronted him in a GC call on Discord, let me pull up some of the messages so I can. I'll pull up what he said to me after he left and found out that I knew that he said that I was cheating on him, and said, like, that's one other thing. Like, you could have, like, if it was just that would have been resolved easily. Now, if it wasn't said in a public server, maybe I would have been more lenient. But the thing is, I was a little upset, not gonna lie. And don't get me wrong. I don't get upset at him often. I try to, stay nice. But whenever me and him are in a public server, I treat him like one of my friends. Because I don't know how to treat someone who's my significant other in public like a significant other if we're not in the same place. Okay? It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard, actually. Because I'm not used to, like, online relationships. Now, before we even started dating, I had to make sure who this man was. I asked how old he was, I asked for a photo of him, and I showed him a photo of me. Alright, we mutually did that because I wasn't dating someone 20 years older than me. I take my precautions. You would be surprised how many pedophiles have been in my DMs. I hate it. But when he found out, now I'm going to summarize what he said because I'm not going to expose the entirety. I did send it to the two other people that helped me told me what happened, because they were the only other people that I can really trust with this type of information, other than my best friend, who's used to be my girlfriend. But we say it's a phase, and it's a phase. It was just a phase, Mom! But he told me that he was sorry, and that he never had a relationship this long, and he didn't want to be alone again, and he wasn't mad that I was happy, but he just had a big suspicion, and he was sorry, and he hopes I don't leave him. And he's like, every time they leave me alone, like, and that he's always alone, and they leave him, and then he sees I'm not like that. But the thing that made me mad personally is that he says he's not like other guys, and then says he thought I was like other girls. First of all, not to say that you're being cringe. Now, I can't look at sayings and not think they're cringe. I've seen too much gotcha cringe. And then I realized one day I'm probably going to be on that spectrum. But it's just the fact that he said he couldn't trust me first. I'm crazy, but I understand. Like, he's been in past relationships that haven't lasted long with. Sometimes they just left him. But the thing is, the reason why I didn't open up is, well, I was starting to open up. Because first I need to start settling into the relationship. Because I don't know how to act in a relationship in public. Like, in real life, yeah, I know how to act like I'm in a relationship. Because it's way more easier. Like, the person's physically there. Like, usually, like, with my friends, one of my friends asks me to hug them by the waist all the time. I don't know how to feel about that, but, I do it anyway. I'm taller than them, so, I guess that answers my question. And then, like, most of me and my friends kind of, like, play around and flirt with each other, but that's, like, friendship flirt. Like, I'm like, what's up, baby grill? That's how we flirt with each other. We use brain rot as well, so that kind of shows that we don't actually like each other. We use brain rot, Riz. It's funny. But of course, I didn't really say we did that because why would I? We don't, me and my friends actually don't do it often. We only do it over texting, and in real life, we just act normal. And then I told him that I just needed time. He said, okay, and I wanted to talk about it more, but in VR, but he couldn't. And he told me that he had suspicions when I said the mean things to him. Now, I say mean things to everyone. Just because you're in a relationship with me doesn't mean I'm going to change. But if we're in private, I will be a lot more chill and, more sweet. As I've been told that I am. But, sorry. Humor helps me when I'm a little bit nervous, and I'm a bit nervous right now. Because I don't talk about controversies, well, relationships with y'all, because y'all, there's barely any of y'all that comment on my videos, and also, Jesus, some of y'all are judgmental. Oh my goodness. Now, the only reason why I'm actually starting to talk about this now is because, well, I would have left it alone. Don't get me wrong. Again, I don't like talking about this type of thing with y'all because, again, None of y'all really talk about it either. But he has not told our friend group. Well, he's told one person, and and it was like our we have a family group chat, and I'm just gonna say their names, not their real names, but like their user tags, the ones that I want to say that were involved. We have my boy Captain, my nigga. We have he's online. That scares me. Anyways, and then we have Mother. Well, she's called the emotionally and mentally unwell, but we're going to say Mother because that's what her name used to be. And uh, Blaine. Demon. I don't usually say his first name in like public institutions because I respect that. Um, that also got me messed up when he said my first name in a public server. Still mad about that. But the thing is, so I told Captain and Mother before he told Mother. And the reason why I told them was because he hadn't said anything, and it had been a while before I did. And Captain was going off the rails. He was so mad. He was so mad. I'm not even gonna lie. He was so mad. And I was like, chill out, because even though I hate my ex-boyfriend, for some reason, I still love him. I'm just really bad at helping. I just told them, yeah, he did this, did that. But the thing is, I don't, I understand why people are gonna like, oh yeah, then we're gonna leave him if you are. I'm like, no. You could still talk to him. I don't give a flying fuck. You could still talk to him. I just don't want to talk to him myself. And like one of my other friends, I don't know how I want to use one of their roleplay names. Just Avery. So Avery is one of my dearest Shaylas, and she went through a lot of stuff. But I'm not gonna say any of her business. No, but she finally came back. Oh my god! And I told her everything, just so she was aware. And she asked me questions too. And she was like, I hope I don't have to pick a side. I don't want to do that. I'm like, no, you don't have to do that. You could still talk to him. I mean, you knew him before I knew him. So you can still talk to him. I don't care. You guys can still stay in touch. Like, I'm not the type of person to, kick someone out of a group that I wasn't in the first place. I'm going to be that kind of person. Even though I hate him, but I still love him. That's just how my world works. It's very bad. I definitely need therapy again. But I try to hate him. I had a mental break, like 3 mental breakdowns. I believe. I don't care for sympathy for that, but the first one, I think, was because this guy said he liked me, and then he wasn't even showing it. And it was like, I told the guy that I needed time after my breakup with Blaine, because of course, buddy, it was really recent. And the guy was flirting with me hard. Like, he said, I'm gonna take you away from him. I'm like, I'll let you? I didn't know how to, I can be flirty, but there's a difference. Because, he was my fuck buddy, quote unquote. Like, me and him would be weird. Be like, to each other. That's how me and another person would act if, that were the case. And, that's just me with my friends, not me with my partner. Because when I'm with if I have a partner, I'm going to treat them with decent respect. You'll be surprised how many times I've had to do that. And then, I would get back with him. But the thing back with my ex-boyfriend, if he tells everybody what he did and sincerely apologizes to everyone in the group, maybe me and him could be friends. But me and him would have to start from scratch. I want to give him that benefit of the doubt, but he's going to need to tell everyone what he did. Not like I don't want to force someone to apologize to a group of people. I'm not going to do that. But he like I literally I told my IRL friends too because of course I needed that comfort in real life because they're like my source of comfort. They're my homies. They're my Shaylas. So of course I told my friend Spritz, uh, Y4ZUMI, Japanese words because I can't say that. Little bongos and Jesus Christ, my God, and I forgot how to say her name, but I don't really say half their real names in my thing, but I told them, and Spritz didn't really like him at all in the first place, and she was like, clock that tea. She came to my house at one point, yeah, and we were like talking about it because of course whenever they were going through something. I'm not gonna say what they were going through because again, I'm not gonna say my friend's business, but they were going through something. I was like, wait a minute, maybe this could cheer her up. So I went upstairs into my room, got my phone, showed her the messages, and whenever we're trashing on someone, when I read messages, I do the anime voice. Now, I didn't know what to do, and I knew that reading it in an anime voice would be funny for her. Him, creature, I don't know what they are anymore. So I started speaking like that to them, and they started like laughing. I handed them my phone so they can read it, and like they were like laughing. I was like, okay, my friend's okay, and I always try to be like, I try to be nice, you know, but it's hard. It's hard, and I can't even get back with him. He gay now, you know. But my friends think he's not gay. Um, because he never simped over a fictional man before. There's an issue if you haven't simped over a fictional man before. Even when you're straight, you do that. Even when you're straight, you do that. I've never heard him say "hear me out" to a fictional man before. Or maybe I'm just slow. Maybe I am. Who knows? But you know, I was starting to really get comfortable. Started to open up. I just it takes me more time than the average person to like. That's how my mom is. My mom does the same thing. Maybe that's what I should have said instead of saying I can't open my heart. Now, that's because when I say my past relationships, I kind of like close up. That's why sometimes I don't talk about them because it makes me mad. Not only that, he had said that he had gotten an injury. Now I don't know anything about. I know how he got it, but I'm not gonna say it because it doesn't really look real. It looks like he hurt himself instead. But the things I went through because I went through a mental breakdown because one, I really just found out this man was using me, and I don't even know if he was at this point because I don't know. I don't know. Two, one of the people that helped me find this out was kind of treating me like a child. I know I'm like 2 years younger than them, but that made me emotional because I understand that since I whew, makes me still emotional. I am younger. It still makes me emotional because yes, I may be younger, but I can understand things pretty quickly at certain points, and I hate it myself. But I hate having to be able to do that quickly. And third, well, the guy still told me that he loved me, but he doesn't even treat me like he does. Like, if you're gonna try to move on me, at least act like it, buddy. You're not even trying. Look, I understand. I told you I needed space from that, but damn. You're playing Forsaken 24/7, buddy. You need some, like, damn. Like, I don't cry out loud, which I found that out because I really hated crying out loud because I thought it was going to be an annoyance. So when I, a couple 2 years back, I kind of just stopped crying out loud. Um, I just stopped. I would just like cry quietly. Like no sound would come out of my mouth. The only thing you're gonna hear is sniffling, like that. You can't really hear much, can you? Um, because I hated crying out loud. I thought it was like being a burden, and that you know it was making me a big baby, because you know I don't know. I don't really know. No one's ever said that to me. I just started thinking like that. And I haven't been able to cry out loud ever since. Like, whenever I hear people, like, crying into their lover's shoulder and, like, an ex listener, I'm like, how do you do that? I haven't been able to yell when I cry anymore. And if I do, it's usually into a pillow so I don't scream. And again, that's how I am. But, I didn't. My friend told me to not be friends with him. One of the people that helped me, you know, confirm he did all this stuff. I I didn't I didn't want to not be friends. The person didn't want me to be friends with him, but I kind of wanted to stay friends with him. I don't know what's wrong with me. Maybe I need therapy again. Not only that, I can't handle people lying about deaths, because I had somebody already do that to me. They lied that they killed themselves, and me and most of the people were devastated. But I had a feeling that he wasn't dead. I don't know why. It was just a really bad feeling. Like, I felt that he was still on this earth. Like, I can sense his presence. It was really weird. And he wasn't dead. He was still alive. And it kind of left me with a peace of mind to never trust when someone says that their thing is dead. But my ex-boyfriend caught me at a time where it's like, oh, family. I told my mother I was going to get her. Like, after I found out all this stuff, at one point I was gonna get her to talk to him so he would still have a parental figure, like someone to look up to, just to find out that his parents are not dead. But supposedly this was just all a script, just for a play, to show that he's good at acting. That's not good at acting. That's just using people for a school grade. I can't. I don't know what else to say about that, because you could have, like, told us this, like, warned us, like, a couple days later that you're gonna, like, do a play script. Like, we would have voluntarily, like you said, yeah, sure, we'll do that. Just, like, after you tell us the thing, make sure just after you tell us the thing, make sure you tell us that it's, like, the part of the play. Because, I really opened up about my father. Now, he doesn't have a real dad. He has a stepfather. And the thing is, yeah, you lost first your real father. Now you lost your stepfather. You're probably going through it. So let me open up about my dad. My dad died from cancer before I got to really meet him. I was only a baby when he died. We moved to Pennsylvania. I don't know what part, because there's a lot of parts that you'll never find me. But we moved there, and I really never really knew. I never really understood a lot, because of course I was still a baby. I just thought my mom left my dad, and that's how life went. And then she told me, oh no, he died from cancer when you're like 1 month or 2 months old, or a week's old. And I was like, oh man, I got emotional that day, because my father died and I didn't really get to meet him. I always envied that I never met him. But I can't change the past. Whenever there's like all of my family members have this thing. Whenever my dad's birthday or their anniversary comes up, or my grandma's birthday comes up, on my grandma's birthday on my mom's side starts showing up. Like, we feel a sense of dread, because they're not here. Like, we can try, but they're not here. what else are we supposed to do? Of course. But, we push on since we have each other. And just to find out I opened up about my father to him, about how I never got to meet him, that I miss him, and that I understand what you're going through. It sucks to find out that I opened up, like, all that, because that is the most sensitive part of me. My father is the most sensitive part of me. I may have not opened up to him, but I opened up to him in a time that he needed it. And I told him the most painful thing that hurt me. And that's probably the only thing that will ever hurt me. If I ever tell people that I'm not with someone, the most hurtful thing that just hits me in my heart is that I talked about my dad to him. It's making me emotional now. Because I don't talk about my father, as I said, because he's not here. What else am I supposed to say? Like, I use it as a joke to cope, but when I'm talking about him seriously, I get emotional because he's not here. I didn't have that father figure as a kid. I only had a mother figure, but she was like the father, the grandma, the aunt, the uncle, everything to me. You know? And I wish I met my dad. I really do. But I can't change that. Like, if I ever talk about my father, and like, there's only two ways I talk about my father: in a joking way to cope, or in a serious way when I cry. And that was how I talked to my ex-boyfriend about my father when he needed me to comfort him. When he told me that he lost his parents, I was like, okay, I understand how it feels, because I never met my father. My father died before I ever met him. We moved out of Puerto Rico and we came here. Just to find out that his parents are not actually dead hurt a lot. Because in my family, my father's the most sensitive subject that we can ever talk about. Even if I never really opened up to my ex-boyfriend, I opened up with a big topic for me. Because I still don't know how to cope about my father. But talking about him helps. Whenever me and my two other brothers are downstairs, sometimes my mom tells us fun little stories about her dad. Sorry, I'm actually genuinely getting emotional here. Um, don't mind it. It happens a lot when I talk about my father. As I said, personal subject. Personal subject, yeah, subject. And it hurts that I told him all of that in my emotional state when I was talking to him. I only told him afterwards that I was crying because I didn't. Whenever I'm talking to someone who's already going through enough, I don't tell them what I'm emotionally dealing with. Because of course they're already going through their own thing. They're already going through enough. That's why I never told him whenever I was sad or depressed, or when I little self harm, because he was already going through it. When I was going to tell him that I did something bad, he already told me he was already doing something similar, and I didn't want to. I don't know. I didn't want to do that to him, so I just didn't. I kept my mouth shut. I didn't say anything. Like, I just kept my mouth shut and kept walking. What else was I supposed to do? He was already going through it. Why would I put more pressure on him? I find myself, whenever I say something to people, as a burden, because I didn't want to say anything. I just have that very bad thing that I just don't want to say anything. I keep my issues to myself because that's what I know how to do. That's the only thing I know how to do. And again, I opened up with him with such a sensitive topic for me, and it's a lie. It was all just for a recording. and he deleted it afterwards, of course. Because, buddy, if I found out that you still have that, I would find his address. Because I don't play about my dad. I don't. My father might have not been my life, but he was a good man. He was a good guy. He taught my mom a lot of things. He taught my brothers a lot of things. I may have not met him, but, you know, he was there. And that's all that matters. It's actually very emotional. Oh my God. I never talk about my dad like that. Well, I do, but I just don't talk about him a lot now. Because I try to keep myself together. But, you know, all I wanted him to do, all I really need him to do, is tell our family group chat. Like, he only told one person, and that was mother. And the thing is, we still have a lot of other people in there. Because last time I remember, he told like 3 people in there, and I don't think he told anyone else. It was Captain, me, and mother that were in the call that we knew, and we never told anyone else in the group chat. So technically he doesn't have to like apologize to everyone, but I want him to apologize to mother and Captain for saying such a lie like this, you know? Because even so, then he switched it up to his grandparents are not here, and then he said it's a script. I don't know whether to believe him or not, and then, you know, it was so hard to do. I didn't want to, you know, do all of that, because I really didn't want to talk about it on a platform that's very judgmental, but he still hasn't told anyone. And I'm if he still doesn't, I'll expose most of his other stuff. And what I mean by that is, like, he could test me if he will, because I already have an issue with him lying about his age online. If you need evidence on that, tell me in the comment section below, because I still have a screenshot of his VR. But I'll blur out his name, because I'm not trying to get anyone to, like, you know, harass him, even if I do hate him at the moment, but love him still. Yeah. But in his Discord, same thing there. I'll take a screenshot, but I'll blur out his name. I'll blur it out, so, you know, he's not getting, you know, all that stuff. I'm not gonna, even though I hate him, love him, I'm not gonna have people on his back. You know, I'm still a person, and so is he. But I can read it right now. I know on his VR, I don't have him at it anymore because he unadded me, but I can still see his Discord. His Discord says he's 15. Last time I checked, you're only turning 14 because I turned older before him. And on VR, he says he's 19. I don't know how that works, but, you know, you do you. But, you know, talking about his age is a whole other story, because he is not the first person I've met who lied about their age. Neither than that, I've met a lot of weird people that are way older than me too. That's a whole nother story though. Weird people aside, that's a whole nother story if y'all want to talk about that. But yeah, like, we started talking like on Discord with each other. I don't know. I think maybe this year, cause, you know, but we used to talk in 2024 a lot though, because, you know, I helped him when I like, man, I liked him when I first met him. You know, I thought, oh my, oh no, I accidentally clicked a voice message I sent. But, you know, before we even started dating, I liked him from the get go because his voice was nice, and I didn't love him, but I liked his voice. I kind of liked him because, you know, that's just how I am. And I had just recently broken up with my girlfriend, my ex-girlfriend, boyfriend, creature. I don't know. But I really didn't say much about that because I don't talk about my relationships. And at one point he said he liked this one person. And I was like, oh my God, wait, let me help you. Let me help you get with this girl. Because even though I liked him, you know, I was going to help him because, you know, I'm that guy. I'm just that guy. And of course, I was gonna help him. I helped him, but when she told me she had a boyfriend, I was like, oh my goodness, oh my golly, oh my gee willikers, oh my. I said, board mission. I'm gonna say that's some pretty good times when when that happened. I find that funny. It was kind of funny to me, not gonna lie, because it was kind of a funny way I just told them abort, abort. But you know, looking back, it was really great. Those times were great. But I stopped playing Rec Room because my friend lost her Rec Room, so I was gonna I set an oath, a promise I made to her that as long as she can't play, I can't play either. And is if she's able to play, then I can play, and she'll be able to play soon. But I'm still not gonna play, and I don't you know I just wanna help. And the thing is, I just even if I didn't open up, I was so comfortable, and I really felt like I found the right person, just to find out that he's also kissing random people in public servers. Which, Jesus, that's a whole other topic. If we stop doing that too, maybe we can be friends. Shit, there's a whole lot of shit he needs to apologize for and stop doing on public platforms. Cause I already have enough on my plate, and I don't talk about it to y'all. I barely even talk to my YouTube channel about this, and yet I'm supposed to talk to actual people about it. I was going to eventually open up to him when his shit got together, and just I just needed him to get better first. Because all the things that I didn't tell him I went through, I've gotten through it. I have therapy. Well, not anymore, but I had therapy. I talked to people about it. I talked to my family. Before I talk to a significant other about my issues, I'm going to talk to my family about it. Or I just don't talk about it at all. I talk to myself about it. Sometimes telling my significant other the first thing it's not gonna help. So I don't say anything. Maybe it's unhealthy. Maybe to some people it's unhealthy, but I'm a very unhealthy person. So yeah, maybe very bad for me to not open up, tell people how I am. But that's just how I am. I don't know how to fix that. But the thing is, he just opens up to me very easily. I comfort him. He was depressed at one point. Oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Sorry. And I told him, oh my god, I hope you get better soon. You know. And I was trying to, and I was just trying to be nice and help him. Whenever he told me he was sad or his bullies were getting to him, I would step in. You know, I would say, yada yada yada. I understand what you're going through. I hope you get better. Tell me we could just talk if you want to. I try to be the picture perfect girlfriend that most men would want, because I don't know how to act like a fucking chick. I act like a nigga, that I've heard from some people. I act like I act like a man to some people. I've been misgendered as a man multiple times. Like, it's not even just I've been misgendered in real life. I've been misgendered in games. I don't care at this point. It's funny to me. So, you know, I try to be that picture perfect girlfriend. Not only that, I'm also a tomboy and I'm bisexual and I mostly dated women. So it's kind of hard for me to just convert back to a girly girl, as some people would say. It's not something I'm used to. I don't even wear girly clothes. The only time I've ever wore girly clothes was when I was trying out a dress. I have a couple dresses and two skirts in my house. Another thing, we started talking 1/24/2025, and he was the first person who sent a message at 12:17 a.m. Not gonna even lie. My friend and I agreed that that's a very dry way to start a conversation. Hey, what's up? Look, God damn it. I can't. I try to, start a conversation with what I have. And the thing is, I want to be friends with him, as I said, but he just needs to, he doesn't have to tell everybody in the damn thing, because he didn't tell everybody. Like, all he has to do is apologize to Mother and Captain, and I'll be okay with that. And he definitely needs to apologize to the freaking chick that helped me, and the dude and girl that helped me, you know, find out that he was doing this stuff. But that could be on a later date because, of course, apologizing to everyone is not going to redeem you. But the fact that he unadded me from every platform tells me everything. I know I didn't want to be his friend, but I was probably going to, still have him added for, 2 years. And then, talk to him again and reminisce. Like an old two people. I don't know. I'm a very weird person, but, I just wanted to make this video to, tell people, always be wary on who you're talking to. Not only that, I should have really thought about relationships, but I was in a really tough spot. He caught me in a really bad time, but always be wary on who you're talking to, and when you find out that they're cheating on you, or lying on your name, just end it, or try to see why they did it, and see if other people know about this, because I'm still mad that he said my name in a public server. I'm still very mad that he said I cheated on him in a public server. I am glad I'm a very stable person today and other days. I've been keeping myself up and standing, trying to keep myself together. And it's hard when I don't talk to many people about my own relationship problems. I deal with them on my own. But sometimes I gotta realize I definitely need some help with it. You know? I definitely need to talk to somebody about it. But whenever I do want to talk about it, it's like people are already dealing with their own issues and people don't want to hear me talk about it. So I just don't say anything. And the other thing that kind of got me mad, or actually kind of sad, is that his friends never really knew about me. His VR chat friends. I don't even, I don't care at that point, but the fact that the only time they've ever heard about me is that I cheated on him, quote unquote, hurts me, because whenever I started dating him, oh my god, could I not keep my mouth shut? I kept telling my friends that, oh, I love him. Oh, he's such a great guy. Oh, man, I think I'm really in love. Oh, man, he's so cute. My friends didn't like how he looked, but it doesn't matter what their opinion was. I liked him. That's all that mattered to me. But I feel like that love just got thrown down a drain. I don't know if that was intentional, but it felt intentional. But I don't really deal with this in a good manner, so I stopped kind of talking about it, because it's very unhealthy for me to keep talking about it. But talking about it to myself as well helps me cope, because I didn't want to end it. But if I kept staying with him, would I just be used again? Will I just be a joke? I didn't know. So I couldn't. My friends told me to break up with him. Well, the two people that helped me find out that that he'd said all that stuff told me, delete, just it's just leave him. But my heart ached so bad at the idea of leaving him that I just stayed a little longer. I just didn't want to end it. I stayed a little longer. But eventually I had to leave. I didn't want to, but it's what I needed. I wanted to stay friends, but they told me I couldn't. So I didn't. I'm a very emotional person right now, and I just really wanted to say something about this. Again, all that good stuff. I hope you're having a nice night, day, evening, afternoon, sunrise, sunset. Be wary on who you're dating with, and make sure you check every nook and cranny on their stuff. Well, don't be over detective or two stalker. It's just enough that you know their basic daily life, you know? And I hope you're having a day. Again, make sure you're drinking water, or I will be on your ceiling tonight. Or I will have James Charles accompany me as well. Hey, maybe I'll get a hit on you with Deadpool. But, you know, again, you better be drinking water, and see you on the next video if I actually come up with an idea. And if you have any ideas, please tell me in the comment section below. If there's anything you guys want me to talk about, any controversies, I'm trying to have big ideas here. Um, or like any, um, or like if you guys want me to start something new, you know, tell me in the comment section below. I've been really thinking about doing X listeners, but I really suck at voicing things, so I'm not even gonna try that. Unless you guys want it, you can tell me in the comment section below. That'd probably be very hard for me. I also could start an alt account that's based on X listeners if that's another thing y'all want to do. Y'all want me to do, because trust me, I can make an alt account for that. But anyways,